I'll never let that go.
It's got to be Yzerman. But Holmes and Weaver are closing the gap, Neil. Is that fair enough?
We suspect with Brad Holmes, but we don't 100%.
A GM for the Lions actually being a GM, you hadn't seen that in years.
What general manager in Detroit right now do you have the most faith in? When you look around, the landscape, and certainly Trevor James is different because I think soccer is different because there's no draft to supplement talent or anything like that. The trades work differently. And plus, his resume speaks for itself. He's shown up on the scene and won every trophy all the time. But as far as the sports with drafts, right now, here and now, draw the line. Who do you have the most faith in between those four that were listed? And our guy Spencer will put it on the YouTube poll. What GM do you have the most faith in right now between Yzerman, Brad Holmes, Troy Weaver, and Al Avila? I know, but you're compromised.
I'm compromised. I'm compromised because I got the Silver Linings playbook, boys. They don't want me to have it, but they never take the playbook back because it's right here. And I was raised by all of them, so I know what's going on. But it's my guy. But here's the thing, as a Detroit sports fan my whole life, I like the position we're at with all these guys. And the last one that had to sell me was Al Avila. I think that the fact that you realize that he's up against more things and trying to get things done, but it's got to be Yzerman. But Holmes and Weaver are closing the gap, Neil. Is that fair enough? Fair to say?
I mean, if I don't know that there's a wrong answer unless you say Al Avila to me. I don't know that there's a wrong answer. But but it's not all Al Avila's fault.
Right.
And I would say even baseball is a bit of a different animal. I like the way you put those three on the graph because I think those are the three most comparable.
For sure.
NBA and NFL are very comparable. And then the NHL, because there's some delayed gratification with the draft. Mm-hmm. It's not all Al Avila's fault. You can wake up one day in baseball as an owner and say we're going to be good. The Mets did it. Steve Cohen does it every single day. He wakes up and says we're going to win the World Series this year.
Hockey's a process. To get it right, you have to build, right? Football, the same sort of thing, but the way that the rules are, you can go bottom to top quicker, right? NBA though, Troy Weaver, what he's done, that's the team that could be the quickest back to the dance. So if I'm having this conversation, I like the position they're all in.
No, and I do too. Adam Beydoun from the Morning Woodward show chimed in. He says, 1, Steve Yzerman, 1A, Brad Holmes. You don't understand the assignment, Adam Beydoun. You can't do a 1 and a 1A, bro. Especially you, big bro. Come on, man. That's weak. You got to pick one. I know where DMAC is at. And for me, and it's up to me. Like, I get to interpret this the way that I want, the same way you do. It's like having an MVP vote or a Heisman vote or whatever. For me, Yzerman, certainly, he was buried when he walked in. Absolutely buried. Because I like singular moments. You guys know how I roll. That's why I say Joe Dumars should be in the Hall of Fame as a player and as an executive, because he traded Mateen Cleaves for John Barry and a first-round pick. That in and of itself is a Hall of Fame move. But after that, for me, it's Brad Holmes. And circumstances are part of it. And Steve Yzerman has done it. Steve Yzerman was buried when he took over. Do you guys understand that Franz Nielsen was making $6 million a year when Steve Yzerman took over the Red Wings? I'll never let that go. A, because Kenny Holland enabled that. And B, because that's the example of what he had to deal with. Think about that for a minute. He had to overcome all of that. And yesterday we talked about the contracts. But for me, it's Brad Holmes. Because for Steve, we knew what he was going to do. And he did it in the past with Tampa. So I know that there's some predisposition to it. But for Brad Holmes, the way that he shifted seemingly an entire organization who's been entrenched in their way of thinking for a long time He has come in and flipped that around.
Well, a lot of that has to do, I think, too, is the change, right? And that starts with Sheila, right? Sheila bringing in Spielman, bringing in Brad Holmes, doing things a little different. The one thing that I asked you, other than Al Avila, do you feel like Weaver has control, Holmes has control, and Yzerman has control of these teams?
I think Yzerman does.
I think Avila does.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Avila does not.
Yzerman does.
Yzerman. I would say, like, if you rank that, Yzerman number
Yzerman,
one.
Weaver.
Yeah, Yzerman number
Holmes.
1 million on that. I mean, just 1,000,000%.
But here's the thing: Troy Weaver, with what he's done,
it suggests that he does,
owning it the way Tom Gores was the Mark Cuban of the Pistons all around. When he brought Troy Weaver in, he's out in L.A. We haven't heard a beep from him, letting Troy do his thing.
Right.
So I put him second.
We suspect with Brad Holmes, but we don't 100%.
Right, exactly.
I feel that way.
I put him in third, but I think he's got more say, like the eldest in the family, right? Hey, Mom and Dad, yeah, that's good. Have you thought about this? Oh, okay, son, maybe.
Yeah, and that's where it was. So I think it's Brad Holmes just because of the magnitude of the job that he has to do. I mean, it's apparent that things have changed to me. When he walked in the door and they traded Matt Stafford, that really...
That was new behavior.
Yes.
But it's also new behavior is moving up 20 picks to go and get a Jameson
Williams,
Jameson Williams, because that's a game changer, right? Like those are moves that winning franchises make. Well, because what do? They identify a player and they don't care what it takes to get that player. And then in the whole scheme of things, when you look back and you go, well, it didn't really cost you much because you got that pick from here and that pick from here. Oh, wow, he's doing GM duties. He's being a GM, Neil. Wow, go figure. A GM for the Lions actually being a GM? We hadn't seen that in years.
Yeah, and for me, it's the stakes and the magnitude of everything, where if he pulls this off, I think he's brought the philosophy of today's NFL, where the financials are just as much of a factor as talent is, especially talent under the right financials. That's the golden key to all this. That's the way that it works. The St. Browns of the world, who, by the way, his entire rookie contract with the Detroit Lions is for less money than Kenny Golladay will make in September. I don't know if you know that or not.
I've heard that a couple times.
Yeah.
I can't remember where, though.
But those are the moves.